Stanisław Przybyszewski was a Polish decadent and expressionist poet, dramatist and novelist. In the late 1890s, after having managed a slew of magazines, he seduced the wife of a poet and dramatist named Jan Kasprowicz to leave her husband and daughters. Around the same time, Przybyszewski's own wife, Dagny Juel, left Przybyszewski for Paris, had liaisons with several men there, and ended up being killed by Władysław Emeryk in Tbilisi in 1901, in full view of her son Zenon. Przybyszewski continued to struggle for the rest of his life with alcoholism, opened up a bookshop shortly after World War I, and worked for the office of the President of Poland, dying in 1927. He initially began publishing his novels and novellas in German, one of his first books being this Totenmesse, which apparently inspired the famous painting The Scream, which resulted in the painter giving the painting to Przybyszewski as a gift. Totenmesse basically also has a lot of commonality with Przybyszewski's later, much superior work Androgyne, which came out 5 years after the Totenmesse. And really, there isn't very much to it. Przybyszewski begins Totenmesse with an introduction where he claims how neuroses are the key for a new type of perception, and then the novella largely spent most of its time saying nothing. The only things we are told are that the narrative is the result of a loveless marriage between a Protestant labourer and a female Catholic aristocrat, and that he has a love interest of some kind. We have a few nice scenes, such as the narrator coming across the dead body of his nameless love and proceeding to bite her breast like a vampire. His imagination of her taking up in his arms and flying with him into outer space, or the culmination of the novel where we see him struggling with suicide and then imagining he sees a gigantic female body made out of thunderclouds and lava descending from the heavens, being a personification of the goddess Astarte. But most of the text is Przybyszewski going on and on about how the narrator is genderless, nice sex, and how his soul is dead, and how he created the world, in an overly baroque style that doesn't really say anything whatsoever and just goes on and on for pages on end, before we get short little glimpses of actual scenes and characters doing things and saying things and, generally providing some actual plot. Now, Androgyne, published 5 years later, still has some of this waffling, but there is definitely more here. You have a man getting a bouquet of roses from a mysterious woman, which results in him looking all over town for her, but he doesn't know what she looks like, so he just imagines what she must look like and tries to find that face in the crowd. This all the while falling deeper and deeper into delusions and hallucinations, such as imagining himself as a mighty oriental king who has the girl as a slave brought before him and then has her crucified, or where he is a magician and invokes the woman as in the guise of Astarte in order to initiate and take part in a massive multi-limbed orgy. When he does finally find the girl in the street, or who imagines the girl to be, she is rather creeped out by his asking out of the blue if she loves him, and even more so after he makes a lot of weird and desperate demands. She disappears, but then suddenly meets him later and declares her love, but one cannot be sure if this really happened, given the narrator's loose grasp on reality. The book culminates with the girl leaving him and the man looking for her and being unable to find her, eventually projecting his mind into a different planet/dimension, and going to look for her in a massive alien deserted city. Now, I've still got Przybyszewski's Satan's Kinder and Der Schrei, and I do really hope that these will be more like Androgyne and less like the Totenmesse, and I'll report on how that goes when I finish.